Hello, it's James from XRobots.co.uk. This is part 55 of my Iron Man Hulkbuster build. Last time I worked on putting the control system in to activate all these functions over both Bluetooth and switches that will be in the hand. So I've got a multi-node serial network which allows me to have nodes dotted around the suit that control things, and I can send out data, and whichever node is the correct one will listen to its identifier and activate the feature. Last time I actually ran out of motor drivers, so I could only get one shoulder working, but I've got the other one working now. Another motor driver has arrived, so if I scroll through here, I can activate one of the shoulders, or I can activate the other one. There we go, let's just open those up again. And also I can activate the unibeam, which I did last time, so that should open. And then it should power up and fire and close again. There we go, and I can also open and shut the helmet. There we go. So this time I'm going to work on putting some more lights in here. I've actually got these guns that turn around and fire. There's lights in the eyes and various other neopixels dotted around. Hopefully we can make our way down the arms and put those hand controller switches on so I can operate the features when I'm in the suit. There's my other BTS7960 and its Arduino Pro Mini. I've got a bit of a cable management issue I need to tidy up, but essentially that's over the right shoulder to operate that right shoulder pod there. And have a look in the previous videos, but I've got a little display which is on that green board, which is just there, which tells me what's going on, and that's going to be mounted up by the helmet as I go. And that's my Arduino Mega, which is the main brain for everything, which has got the Bluetooth interface on it. So basically the idea of this is a lot tidier than having tons of wires running everywhere, because all I've got is power data and ground running around, and that goes to all the nodes, which then activate and deal with all of those local wires in a concentrated space. So now it's time to work our way up and put some of those wires into the helmet and things to put the lights in. I've already got this wire here, which is in fact for the neopixels in the eyes, so that's the first thing I'm going to connect up. I've wired in those wires for the neopixels in the head into the same Pro Mini that opens the faceplate, which makes quite a lot of sense for this. I was going to use a separate lighting node up there, but there's not really any need for the faceplate. So I've got a fade on those neopixels, so if I shut the helmet, it should close and they should fade up, and if I open it, they fade down and up it goes. And those neopixels are on all of the time that the helmet is closed, pretty much. Let's have a closer look at these shoulder cannons. Each one has a series of RGB LEDs in it, and it also has a servo in the back that causes it to rotate, so they can flash and fire, and it can rotate around as it does so, and then recoil back again. So I'm going to try and drag out the code I used before and build that code into the controllers that are just in there, which currently open the shoulder, so it's all synchronized. That's all coded up so that the guns appear to fire. There are flashing lights in this segment, just as a warning, so let's open one of these. There we go, so we get something that looks a bit like gunfire. In the end I'll have some sounds coordinated with this probably, and the other one also does exactly the same, and they stay up till I close them rather than closing automatically, so I can leave them open if I wish. And when they've finished I can close both of them. Same as before. Alright, so let's have a look at these arms. Here's one of my Hulkbuster hands, or arms. So this already has some electronics inside. If we just fold this up here, hopefully you can see there's a joystick in here. And there's some other various electronics, including a power supply, some relays and things, which, let's just get that camera closer, which already activate the arm. And in the bottom there's an Arduino. So what actually happens is that the long and short presses on this joystick will activate functions. So if I press and hold the top button, it should fold the arm up that way. And if I press and hold the bottom button, it should unfold. And short presses were supposed to activate the hands. In fact, if I press both buttons together, I think. No, that wasn't it. Now there's the hand. So I need to check the coding on that. So let's just get that down again. Let's try that again. No. Oh yes, there we go. There's the hand opening and closing. But what I really need to do is get some serial data out of this to activate the menu system. So I need to recode that Arduino and check why that's not very reliable, but also I did have a switch pin coming back to the control system in the suit that was supposed to activate the other things, but I now need to code the Arduino to send the serial data out so that these short presses on the joysticks will basically scroll through the menu options and the other one will activate it. So I just need to check on those timings, I think, and make this compatible with the rest of the suit. Here's the other arm, in fact, but I've now sorted out those bad coding issues and I've put some switch debounce in. So now a long press on these buttons will either close the arm or open the arm. The double button press activates the hands. And then short button presses will chuck serial data out of this cable here, which goes off to the rest of the suit, so that I can select my menu options and execute them. And each arm will send a different activation character so that I could identify the left and right arms to activate the left and right missile pods. Here is my serial data out, which goes to the suit, and that is only 2 wires for ground and data. I'm currently not sending any data back in here, so I can't make the arm bend remotely over Bluetooth, although I could with the 3rd pin if I wanted, and a bit of extra code to read some characters back. I've decided that basically the suit's a bit unstable when it's standing up on its own, so I don't want to throw the arms around and have them moving and make it wobble and potentially fall over. So that's more of a safety thing. The arm is currently powered by its own battery, but of course I can just extend this wire with a connector and take the battery power off the suit if I want, so just take these wires up. For now it'll probably have its own battery because there's some more power requirements I haven't mentioned yet. Before I hang the arms on, I'm just doing a little test. So I've got that serial wire connected, which will come into the arm on that side. And basically it's connected to the Mega. So if we get a closer look on that little screen in there, let's just zoom in. We should find that as I click through the options on this joystick, it should scroll through the options, which seems to be working okay. And we'll also find, if I look on my phone and it's still connected with Bluetooth, that we should be getting those same options on the phone. Let me see if I can just hold this in here. Hopefully you can see it. So if I scroll through those as well, you should be able to see those appearing on the screen there. And if I scroll through to option 2 and hit the other button, it should activate. And that should be firing that shoulder cannon. So just press that button again. That should bring it down. That should bring it up. And of course, if I press and hold that button for more than half a second, it should fold the arm up, but it still doesn't affect this. A short press brings that down, and the other button straightens the arm up. I'm just going to squeeze myself into the suit, even though it's on this workmate. I've now got the arms on and we'll be able to test exactly what happens when I press all the switches. So I've mounted my LCD, it's just inside here, so I can just see it, which is probably going to be okay. Let's just find the switches. So if I scroll through to option 2 and activate the left one, off it goes, and the right one. Of course I can leave them there, and that's sort of multitasking because it's on those separate Arduinos, so I can scroll all the way through, and while those are still firing I can activate the helmet. And I can still scroll through, of course, and activate the Unibeam, and then I can still go back to, while that's firing, to option 2 and shut my shoulder pods. And of course the long presses still activate the arms. And let's finally scroll back through. I'm pretty happy that works as expected, so you can get a kind of feel for how this suit's coming together and what it's going to be like in motion when I'm inside it, walking around with those guns firing. But the helmet's a bit white inside, that's really the only thing I never did anything to, so it's probably time for some cosmetics. First of all, I need to do something about this gap, which actually helps me look out when the helmet's down. I don't want a massive gap there though, so I probably need some sort of mesh. I can't actually see that well with the helmet down, so I think the plan is going to be to mostly walk around with the helmet up just for safety reasons. But basically we need to put something in there so that I can see out. As I say, the inside of the helmet is actually quite white. So that's the back of the foam PVC, which I probably should have painted black. Some of the other parts on the shoulders are actually foam on the inside on black 3D printed frames. Now it's a bit tricky to line this with foam or anything now, or to put too many big features in because of this helmet slotting inside the, or at least the faceplate slotting inside the helmet. So what I'm going to do to start with is try illuminating this with some coloured LEDs, maybe in blue, so when it pops up it all illuminates in a colour and that colour's in the white. Then I don't have to worry too much. I've 3D printed this mesh part, which is just a flat thing with lots of holes in. It's got 2 screw holes in the end so I can stand it up, and that's thin enough that I can just bend that round to fit inside the helmet there. There we go, it's a bit close to my face, but I think it'll be okay. I'm going to wire the lighting onto the end of the NeoPixel chain for the eyes, so onto this end. So these are RGB LEDs that are all daisy chained together. So of course I've got the terminals on the end to wire the next ones. So I've wired 4 more NeoPixels on this wire, which are going to go 2 on one side, so it'll come off there. The wire will go along the back and back up to the other side. So we'll get these fitted, then I can just code that into the same Arduino that controls the eyes. So when the helmet opens, these blue LEDs come on, or whatever colour I want, and when it closes they come on white. Here's a rather low down shot looking right up into the faceplate, so I've coded up those LEDs so they swap over nicely, basically when it's closing and opening. So at the moment the lights are on because it's closed, and if I click the stick, you should get that purple light comes on, the eyes go off and up it goes. And I've basically used the red and the blue parts of the RGB LEDs. If I come down, the eyes fade up, and then the other colours go off. So we get that satisfying changeover. Yep, I think that'll do for now. Pretty happy with the look of that. Nice and purple. I could put some more greeblies in. Possibly I could just spray can some silver and black in there, but it probably wouldn't have the same effect on the lighting. So I think I'm going to leave it at that for now. So pretty happy that that's hanging together okay. Got most of the control system sorted how I want. Next time I'm going to come back and work my way down the arms and do the fill-in sections. There's some more lighting to go in that's part of that. Probably the hand repulsors, and hopefully I'll get around to the back sections to put those back panels on, put the lighting in there. So that's one episode. Then after that there's probably 1 to 2 episodes to go and look at the legs. There's not too much to do there. Bit of lighting and some fill-in sections, and then that's the whole project finished. But don't forget to check out the other projects in my channel, including my life-size Ultron as a real robot project and my BB-8 builds. Alright, that's all for now.